Good morning, Namaste. Many volumes of scriptures and biblical parables and stories about each one's experience of something godly, something spiritually, something holy. And each one is the same. Each one is an experience of a living idea. And we don't want to cheapen it by saying it's just an idea, because it's a fantastic idea. Isn't it fantastic to have an idea that you're living here, and that this could be a home, and that you have some sort of place in this planet? Doesn't it really capture your mind sometimes to say, wow, how was I made? How it's so perfect. I'm made to fit in and breathe in my human body as if I belong here. Yet there's an inclination, do I belong here? Do I really belong here? Why would you examine this? The simple fact is you belong here. I belong here. I am here. I exist. To know that I exist and I feel content with nature, content with my body, content with what it is capable of, is enough. But it's through a need, a greed, a desire to want to know something else about me. But it is also important before you can transcend. We are really just preparing ourselves for the next stage. And if you're not prepared, you may not go to the next stage at the next transcendence. You may have to return or whatever, all these possibilities of reincarnation and life regressions and all the stuff that the mind says about past and they're all possibilities. But when God says, or when this inner guru, this inner being speaks out loud within yourself saying, I'm coming forward for you. I'm coming to collect you. The mind will want to make a story of that and say, well, why do you want to collect me? Am I going to heaven? Are you not happy with me? You don't question. Because for this to come forward and move on your behalf is an honor. I'm coming to save you. So does that mean when the body goes, or is it now? Isn't this what Christ says? I believe. You can. I'm not a biblical reader. I will return to save you. Something will return to save you. The spirit. Your spirit will be affected. Don't fear. Don't worry. And in fact, it's through the fear and the worry that brings you to a point I have to examine. Suddenly I don't feel as though I belong here. And it's that coming and going situation, isn't it? When you move, God moves. When you don't move, God doesn't move. Yeah? If you move and the earth is still, what's going to happen? You're going to walk off the end? Both move in time. It appears that the mind can sometimes say it's negative movement, you're walking away from each other, but to walk away is to get close. Christ opens his arms. Yeah, I love my hands. My right hand loves my left hand, and it loves to be together to pray. But there are times in life when I have to open them and separate them, and they accept that. Because the hands are making way from the heart, the door. Holman Hunt painted a beautiful picture about the light of the world and this door with no handle. That's what enlightenment is. You've opened the door. So when you open the door, when you're sitting back, and you went through all this trauma, paranoia, mind games, emptiness, fullness, stress, depression, anxiety, playing games with yourself, playing games with the world, playing games with everyone else, becoming the psychologist, the doctor, the artist, the joiner, whatever it is your mind says you are at that moment. All these games, right? And then the room becomes crowded with lots and lots of opportunities and new ways, new practices, new visitations to new countries. Jump on a plane, let's go, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. The room gets full of jam-packed, totally jam-packed with ideas, concepts, experiences, memories, hopes, beliefs. Can you visualize this room? Can you picture this room in your head? Or can you picture, as your head, all that information that you gathered at school is there, all the people that you met and the ones you didn't like, and all the abusive comments that you gave to others and all the abusive comments that you received from others, all in this room, this wonderful room of your collection, my life in this room. The room is so packed that even the window is covered up and there's no light coming in, and it gets dark and depressive. And there's only one way out. But you don't want to leave anything. No, I want to take things with me. I don't want that, don't want that, don't want that, don't want that. That, you're coming, you're coming, you're coming. That memory I had of my first love is coming. That thought I have about building a company, an empire, that story, that book that I wrote that never got published, they're all coming because they're good things. And you pick them all up and you realize that you can't carry them. And you can't get near the door. So you drop off another one and another one. Yeah. And then you're left with 2 or 3 items. Well, that's great. I gave up so much of my life. And I've got 2 or 3 items. And then you walk towards the door with these 2 or 3 items and you realize you have to turn the key. Oh my God. And as you stretch for the key, the 2 or 3 items fall to the ground. The key turns, the door opens, and there it is. Christ, Spirit. Ha! Good. That's the way I want you. That's the way you only get into God's kingdom, God's paradise. And you think, my God, I'm dying. I'm going to be taken to heaven. And Christ blesses you, wipes you down, cleans you up, and says, right, go, close the door. What? Back in there? Yeah, back in. And you don't dishonour Christ by arguing and negotiating. You say, oh, thank you. Because the moment is the most astounding, ultimate, mystical, majestical moment. And just before you turn away, this light that you assume was Christ because it had that sensation, that feeling of Christ, it turns into a form. And as it turns into a form, the door is closing, and the form is you. You're witnessing yourself. And Rumi and St. Francis of Assisi, I think, speak of these same experiences. I opened a door, and I was standing on the inside. A mirror reflection of you and your beauty. And you turn around to go back into the room, and it's empty. It's pure, it's white, it's clean, it's loving, and it is colossal, it's infinite, it stretches. And in the distance, all these things that used to take up space in your room are there for you to collect again. Rebirth. And of course, you don't collect the things that tied you down. It's like a normal human event. Spring cleaning, we call it in Scotland. After winter, all the old stuff is thrown out. All the house is cleaned up. All things are bagged and put to the charity shops or whatever. And you keep that little things, that photos of the children, your grandma's vase, and it's hoovered up and cleaned, and you say, right, ready for another year. And that's the same. You don't invite the things back in this time as quickly. You don't get attached and associate with the things that were just collecting dust, memories, comments, abusive, negative, hopes, beliefs and futures. The only thing that exists is your room, your space. And when your body passes and your children go through the same experience, yeah, you'll be waving at the other end of the room to them. Hello. Yeah, remember me. And they'll go out and they'll take that photograph that you are, and they'll put it back on the place where it's supposed to be. And they'll say, thank you. Thank you for giving me birth. Thank you for these words that you shared, so that I can establish this meeting with Christ myself. You don't say you're Christ. You simply say that through Christ, through that light, I met my true original self. And that one is wise. The old one is gone, deceased. A photograph, a reflection of yourself is all that exists. This is an idea, a wonderful, fantastic idea, where I can be free in a world of rain, water, fire, earth, steel, breath, oxygen. Nature. And I can watch the sun rise knowing it's in my room. It's only for me. You find your own sun. You find your own room. You find your own door. And you go empty and meet with that, what it is. Namaste Om. And I hope Christ, or God, or consciousness, or whatever it is that gives itself a name, comes looking for you. One day, it's assured. So rest assured. Things can only get better. Namaste.